I got the best Kool-Aid, and it's for free. My lemonade stand has the best juice, and it's for free. All I got to do is show up. All you got to do is show up and hang out. I'm giving you stuff that you never would learn. I'm proving things conceptually over live price action, and it's not both sides of the marketplace. I'm teaching you narrative. That's the stuff that cannot be taught in a book. It cannot be taught in a book. I could write 50 fucking books the rest of my life. I would never be able to scratch the surface of you watching real time what price candles are doing real time as they deliver. How to monitor. Okay, watch when it goes here. You want to see it do this. You don't want to see it do that. But those things can't be communicated in a static picture. Think about that. Some of you have such high hopes about these books, and you're thinking, I'm just going to wait for the book. Like that's somehow going to give you a quick, jump ahead to the front of the line in understanding. That's not happening, folks. Not for the lack of wanting it to be like that, because if I could, I really would. I really would. It'd be so much easier because I want to see what you do with the information. Clearly, I've made millionaires with this stuff. Millionaires. Okay? I'm not the mentor of your mentor. I'm the mentor of millionaire traders. I'm the mentor of mentors that while they're learning how to do it, they sell my stuff when I give it away for free. Make that make sense. That just goes to show the level of just lunacy that traders have when they get in this industry right now. Here's it for free from the guy that created it. And here's other guys out here saying, I'm going to teach you how to do it easier, faster, simplifying it. Have them come out and do what I'm doing. Outline the logic, the whys, the why it should and the why it shouldn't, and when it should happen and when it should not happen. And I'm here with it, watching. I want popcorn at the ready because that shit ain't never going to happen. Every mentor that's selling a mentorship right now, if they are not giving it to you for a couple months for free, proving that they can see it, outline it, and give it to you in pristine detail, they are not worth your fucking time, let alone your money. And if that hurts, suck it the fuck up, Buttercup, because that's just the reality. That's the reality. Shit's too expensive now, man. Shit is way too fucking expensive and shit's too deep for people to be fucking around with some fraudulent fucking wannabe mentor. If you can't do it, if you can't explain it, if you can't make it make sense real time, you have no voice. And you certainly don't fucking deserve to have my fucking name a part of your shit. So yes, I'm dipping my dick in your cornflakes and I'm pissing all in it because the ones that can really do it, they're not going to be offended by that. They'll be like, you know what? For the people that want to go with ICT, there it is. But if you want to see the way I'm doing it, and I'm going to come out and prove that I can do this too, you know what? You get a nod from me. I won't shit on you. I won't say nothing about you because you've earned your spot. You've earned it. But everybody wants my logo in their fucking thumbnail. Everybody wants my fucking name in there, either for fucking drama purposes. Oh yeah, ICT doesn't fucking trade. He's unprofitable. He's the, like, these motherfuckers know me. Like, you don't know me. You don't fucking know me. None of you know what the fuck's going on. None of you do. But I love the ones that absolutely care to learn how to do it properly, that have taken notes, and they took the initiative to go out there and say, I'm going to carve out my own model. I didn't forget who I learned it from. I'm not blowing ICT in front of everybody just to get a nod from him. I give him his flowers, say, hey, you know what? Thank you for helping me. And if anybody ever asks, how'd you learn this? ICT. And then you go right back to your business. When I'm in other people's live streams and they start, oh, ICT, like I'm a fucking celebrity, I quickly, focus on your stream. I'm not a fucking celebrity. But if I want to make myself known in your stream, when I do that, that's not an invitation for everybody to stop listening to the people I'm in there watching too. I'm curious. I want to see what they're doing. I want to watch what they're doing. Because if they're using my information, I want them to teach it correctly. And if I can help them without managing their trade for them, I'll do so. I just don't know how anybody would want to pour money into something when it's being given for free. Like you're getting it, the purest form of it, where it's in a manner where you can judge it for free. I can see if I come out here, and I've done this. If I come out here and I play silly, like, oh, yeah, this is like, I don't know, it could do that, it could do that. Well, I don't know about it. Yeah, okay, that's somebody that knows what to talk about. But look at the chart. Look at what we were doing today. Really, listen to what I'm telling you. That's not ambiguous. It's one-sided. And it was very rule-based. If it does this, it's going to do that. If it does this, it shouldn't do this, so therefore you can look for this. And I literally told you how my son would be engaging it, how he's going to use this model, where his entry technique would be applied, where his stop loss would be, and why. Why is the stop losses in your chart, in your trades, Michael? How is it that your stop losses are so well placed? Right. It's the logic I showed to you today. Everything I'm teaching in this mentorship is how I pyramid into trades, how I place my stop loss, how I read the market, how I get a bias, how I know what's the right draw on liquidity, how I can change direction, how all those things. That's what this mentorship is, because I want my son to know those things. And my other boys will have the recordings as well. And because I'm releasing it for the first time this way, everybody afterwards is an echo. Meaning they didn't discover it. They didn't find out. I love my students, I do. But one of the things that irk me is I see a lot of people say, I took the same trade. When you do that, I'm looking for your trade. And when you don't have that, I look at that as, okay, that's fandom. Fandom is not why I'm here. I don't want fans. I don't want, let's bump shoulders and say, hey, look, this is a move we both took. I don't high five anybody like that. If you're going to go so far as to tell me in the comment section that, yeah, I took the same trade, you fucking better show that you did the same trade. Show it. Because I don't have any respect for that. And I know the viewers, if I allowed those comments to be seen, would shit all over that. And it's justified. It's justified. And if you're going to co-sign and say, I did this like you did, or took the same trade, as a mentor, I want to see that you did, because that's a testimony that you listened, that you used the logic that I spent the time teaching, and you did it without me telling you how to do it. That's a testimony. You have a voice. You have reason to say, I know what I'm doing. Not just, hey, I want somebody to say, you did the same trade as ICT? Wow. That's not impressive. Show the trade. Show it. Show the engagement, where you got in, where your stop loss, how you manage it. I would love nothing more to see that. I love when I see that in my students. I love that. You all like it when you're watching my executions. I love watching my students' executions. To me, it's like watching my own kids, Like I'm watching them do something that my heart is in. My whole life's been in this. And when I can see someone else carving out their success with it, man, am I fucking proud of that. I am fucking proud of that moment, because I know what it feels like for them. I know what it feels like for them. And I get emotional. Sometimes I get welled up and I feel like a fucking peacock walking around. And other times I get emotional. I start crying because I'm happy for them. And if I get a chance to have the fortunate opportunity to watch them when they're live streaming and they do it and they feel good, and you can watch their fucking face light up because it worked out, you know damn well what that feels like. And you can't describe it. No words are going to be able to be adequate enough to say how good it fucking feels. Because there's so many people out there that want to tell you, and it's not because they just don't like me or they just want to shit on you specifically. They'll just shit on anybody because they're miserable. Unless you suck their dick and love what they do, okay? But here, in this industry, Unless you are really part of a good community and you're a mature person, you can't appreciate someone else's success. If you look at someone else, I don't care what they are, okay, if they're trading with any kind of other discipline outside of mine, if they make money and they're consistently able to do that, I am fucking impressed by that. I have every ounce of fucking respect for somebody like that. They don't have to use what I'm teaching. I'm just telling you this is what the markets really do. And if you happen to find a trade that lines up, that's why your trade worked. But if you are consistently profitable, doing anything of your own accord, I have a great deal of respect for that. I don't get jealous by that. I don't talk down just because you don't use my concepts. You're making fucking money. That's the whole reason why anybody should be doing this. But social media has caused the perfect storm for people to be divisive. And when I say the things I say, and I said this before, but I get new students all the time. And they say, wow, you're very aggressive, or you talk down to other people. And I wish you wouldn't do that. I'm not talking to you when I do that. I'm talking to the people that are in other communities that have heard shit about me that isn't true. And then when I do something like that, when I challenge them, say, look, your shit's Mickey Mouse. It's bullshit. Mine's the real stuff, and it would smoke you. What's that going to make them do? They're going to say, well, I want to see where it's wrong. And all of a sudden, I have a convert because they start seeing shit they never saw before, and they're convinced. Not because I said so, because they see it in the fucking charts. They're watching it happen in their own charts. They're like, oh shit, this really is better than a fucking rapid wombat pattern. Hello. There's something else going on there. And it's not a zoo pattern. And I provide the opportunity for you to have that moment of astonishment where it happens in your own hands. That's the magic. That's the part that you need to happen in your own study. Because when you have that first initial moment of astonishment where it's like, wow, you'll lean on that throughout your entire career. And then you'll get more of them. And you'll have them in your journal, and you'll share them with other traders. Say, hey, look, what was the biggest epiphany moment for you when you were learning how to trade? Oh, it was when I was looking for these fair value gaps, and I couldn't see them, and I saw all these different fair value gaps, and all of a sudden, boom, it clicked. I was able to see the right ones, and it became easy. And I didn't know how it was going to happen, and I couldn't even expect it to happen the way it did. But just because I was in front of the charts all the time, it was like it finally made sense. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's going to happen for you, but I can't tell you how long it's going to take for that to happen. And some of you, and let's be real honest, Michael, most of you are not giving yourself enough time to get that moment. Because when it happens, that's when the trading bug has bit you. Now you're a fucking mutant, okay? You're going to be out there chasing every opportunity to be a web slinger, just like Spider-Man, okay? You're going to be slinging around in these charts, looking for new opportunities to be able to test the theories that you're learning about. And when you get more experience and it's building and building, it's infectious. And you start talking to yourself in a positive tone. So you know what? I'm making progress. I am not wasting my time listening to people talk down to the person that's sharing this for free. I'm asking nothing. I'm asking nothing. I'm doing this for my son. You don't have to watch my videos. Nothing brings you here but your own morbid curiosity or your sincere desire to learn it. But it's going to be a default result, the cause and effect of you spending time here doing the things I'm teaching my son. If you mimic this, your understanding on how to read price action clearly, properly, accurately, and how to determine what it's likely to reach for will go through the stratosphere. Like you won't realize how fast your learning will go if you stay out of the toxic stuff. If you stay out of all the what if thinking, don't do that. What if you do well by learning this? That's how you should think. What if you learn it faster than you thought it was going to take you? You got to replace all that toxic thinking with positive self-talk. And you do that through your journal and then while you're watching price action. When you feel like you missed something, just remind yourself, you know what? This is just one day out of over 200 opportunities in a whole year. Within how many years do you anticipate living? I mean, obviously tomorrow's not promised to nobody, but nobody plans to die tomorrow, right? Nobody plans, I'm going to live 14 more years and that's it. I'm going to give up the ghost. Nobody thinks like that. So For as long as you think you're going to be alive and you have your mental faculties, that's the opportunity that's in front of you. So don't rush to get to, I can push a button and I can get it right sometimes and it'll be enough for me. No. Your goal should be, I'm going to be bored out of my fucking mind because I know that this is what's likely to occur. I've seen it so many times before. And when you finally fund an account with real money, or you finally get to a decision where you want to take a funded account challenge, you know that what you've been doing already works and nobody needs to convince you of it, and you don't need to listen to me cheerlead you on. You've seen the fruits of it. You've back tested it. You've forward tested it. You've tape read. You have demo traded it for a minimum 3 months. You have the data to support the idea that you yourself can engage with price using the information. And you stick to the rules that you've laid down for yourself. You don't deviate from it. You don't bend them. You don't try to do more to impress social media. You're not even worried about social media. That's the right mindset. That's the absolute mindset. And if you don't want to learn from me, apply that same logic to whoever you want to learn from that's proven they can do it to you. And I mean that sincerely. It don't have to be with me. You don't have to learn how to trade with me. But I'm not going to lie to you and tell you it's Bollinger Bands causing the market to do this or doing that. It's not. I'm not going to make up some horse shit around an indicator to justify why the market does this or doesn't do that. All these different trading disciplines out there, okay, all of them. If you use sound money management and you don't overtrade or over leverage, anything can be made profitable. And unfortunately, like I learned in the very beginning, I attributed the indicators, the oversold bullish stochastics on a 1 hour chart. That was the secret sauce for me. And it was just because the market was going to go up anyway. That's it. That's the only thing that happened. And I didn't get stopped out the times I won. And I wore blinders on. And when I lost, I should have been studying why I was losing, but I was focusing on studying why I won. The greater lessons for me would have been studying why I was doing it wrong, because it was staring me in my face. Everything I've been teaching on this YouTube channel were all the things I was ignoring that could have made me so much better sooner and kept me from losing fortunes. I've lost more money in the early stages of my development than some of you will probably ever make. But I still kept going. And I didn't have ICT telling me in videos, do this, and you'll be fine. Keep doing it. It'll work for you. It'll work for you. I didn't have that. I had tears, crying, anxiety attacks, eating disorders, ulcers forming in my stomach, irritable bowel syndrome. I had all that. That was my companions while I was learning all this stuff. That was what it was like. Books didn't satisfy me. Nobody knew what they were doing online. They weren't telling you. Like, I'm talking about things that repeat every single day. That you can go in, measure it, study it, see the influences over it, and then where in these runs do you find your setup? There's lots of trades in this, man. Lots of them. And I know enough to know that it's not appropriate for me to force you into any one of these specific ones. But because Caleb needs that structure to start him, I'm forcing him into fair value gap. So it's the first fair value gap that forms between 9:30 and 10 o'clock. Is that complicated, folks? Am I hiding it from you? Am I lathering it all up and hiding the real thing he's looking for? No. I've been honest with you. I've been very straightforward, and I've made it very detailed. Like today was very, very, very detailed. But it's the first presentation of a fair value gap inside of 9:30 to 10 o'clock. That is going to be his setup. That's his thing. Okay, that's his modem. Not his modem. His model. I was thinking modem because I watched this little short on YouTube before I got on here today. It showed a 1993 desktop computer, and it was loading up, turning on for the first time, and it's going through all of its login and startup, and he was loading up Doom 16-bit, and it was like, man, that sends me back to memories and stuff. But it made me think about when we had old modems when American Line came online. I know I digress, but I have to do it because it's just one of those things. when we had America Online when it first came out, everybody had a modem. They had to plug their phone line in, and you hear this, all that terrible handshaking that it would do when it was connecting to the service. It didn't make that sound. It was like some kind of song playing, but not that you needed to do that to play Doom. But I was thinking modem. It's been in my mind all morning. Like, wow, look at the technology we have. Like, I'm literally talking to you. You're all around the world, different places, all at the same time hearing me talk. Within 4 seconds, you're seeing and hearing everything I'm doing. Like, we're really in the age of the Jetsons. That 80s cartoon, George Jetson and stuff. And they could talk to each other on the TV or in the palm of their hand. That's what we're doing today. Isn't that wild? I mean, technology is amazing today. And you have all the advantages that I didn't have. So if it took me years to figure out all this stuff, and I know the Lord had his hand in it, that was my mentor. That was the one that said, look here. And I heard it. And that it might be unsettling for you. It might want to say, okay, I'm done. You're talking about Jesus, I'm out of here. Goodbye. See ya. But that's who kept me in it. Because I didn't have the money to keep doing it. I didn't. I had to work real hard to replenish those accounts that I kept dusting off because I figured it out with a new indicator setting. Oh, I was doing it with the wrong indicator setting. I got to do it with 14 smooth by 3. That's the one that's the cast. That's the secret one. That's what the smart traders use. You should have saw some of the stuff I believed back then. It was nuts. It was nuts. What you see me able to do and describe and teach and what my other traders and students can do, that was unheard of back then. Nobody, and even still today, even before I stepped out, nobody was able to do this kind of stuff. And that's how you know the hand of the Lord's in it. Because if he wouldn't have opened my eyes to it, you would have never known it. It's a fantasy that never would have materialized in anybody's mind. And I didn't have the expectation that this would even be possible back then. That's not what kept me going. Each little thing that was being shown to me and revealed, this is what happens in the marketplace. This is how it can be capitalized on. Okay, well, let's codify something around that. Boom, there it is. And when my upcoming as a trader, transitioning from open outcry pits where nothing was electronic, everything was calling in your orders from a phone, I had the unique perspective and timing to be a part of that electronic transfer from open outcry to electronic trading, and then eventually 24-hour trading where you have it now. And not technically 24 hours, but we'll eventually be there. And when they do away with that gap between 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock, because if we live long enough, we'll eventually see that go away. There'll be 24 hours trading. It won't change anything. There's still going to be imbalances. There's still going to be inefficiencies. And I have other weapons and other tools. And if they ever take away the gap between 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock, I will publicly reveal something that would make an allowance for that. I have so many things. I don't need everything, and you don't need everything. You just need one specific element of trading inside price action when price should move. And whatever that is for you, once you discover what it is, don't demand more. Don't try to reinvent it. Don't try to pick up what ICT said, 81 of them. I'm really curious. Honestly, I wish I never would have said it. I wish I never would have revealed that the corpse. I wish I never would have said that. But because we were talking, I said a lot of things that I said I don't want in that discussion. It was just for him and I as traders talking amongst one another. But I wish I would never said it. But I get people sending me emails and sending me messages and texting me on my personal phone line, which I find very intrusive. If I didn't reply to you, I blocked you, just so you know. And it's not to be a dick, but I get so many people texting and calling when I do the live streams. They're trying to call and talk to me like that. But you only need one thing. If I never teach another PD array, if I never teach a new one, you have more than enough. But the problem is you think by me teaching something new, I've held the better for later. I've held the better for later. But any one of these can perform just as well as the other ones. It's when they first present themselves, that's the importance. What time of day it does it, and what's the underlying narrative, where the market's likely to behave and trade to and draw to, and you incorporate all those things, you have something so strategically advanced, far and above everything else, that it's laughable. It's really laughable what you believe as a trader is a catalyst for you to get into a trade until you learn how to really read what price is doing. And it's very liberating once you understand what it's doing, because it's like, oh, it really isn't that complicated. But your thoughts and your concerns and your fears about yourself, they cloud your mind, and you're going to waste a lot of time wrestling with those things instead of saying, you know what? My only obligation right now is to log what's going on in price and measure how often these things form. That's my only obligation right now. So that's all Caleb needs to do. He's not in here trying to impress me with how many times he can find a fair value gap. That's not the agenda here. The assignment is you are to log price action and show me what your observations are, finding the first imbalance between 9:30 and 10 o'clock and how it is used intraday and where it was seeking what side of the liquidity. I didn't ask him to be right about liquidity and withdrawal liquidity every single time initially. That's not even part of it. The way you discover all that is by seeing pattern recognition. How does the market behave? But until I teach what is withdrawal and liquidity, which is what we've done, he now has a baseline. Okay, this is what it looks like. So then he can go through his charts after it's happened and find all that information and log it and screenshot and put his annotations on what his observations are. And as he gets more understanding, his annotations will be much more specific about things I'm expecting him to observe. And then I'll know that he can go to the next level of what I want to teach him. That's how I teach. That's what I want for my son. That's the best way. He's my son. And I really don't appreciate people trying to tell me how I should teach my son. When you've made millions of dollars, then you can tell me. Okay? When you can come out here live and call every individual 1 minute candle, explain why it's going to do it, then you can give me criticism on how I should teach my son how to trade. Okay? When you can do that, prove it to me, do it live, I'll sit down and I'll take notes from you talking. But otherwise, please don't do that, because I'm not going to hear you. I'm not going to hear that. I'm sorry, I'm not going to hear it. But I've had a lot of fun today. Obviously, you see that I had a little bit of withdrawal because yesterday we weren't able to live stream. So we had a little bit of a longer session today. So if you compensate for the fact that we didn't have a live stream yesterday and average it out a little bit between 2 sessions, it's a little extra for 2 days. Okay, so we'll be back on a 1 hour, maybe a 1 hour and 15-minute duration tomorrow, and then we'll sail into the weekend with warm butterflies and kumbayas. Okay, I had fun. Hope you had fun. If you learned something today, if it's encouraged you, if it gave you some more insight about what we're doing and while we're watching price action, give the stream a thumbs up. That's your currency with me. That means that you found something here that was helpful to you. It caused you some more questions, which is a good thing. If you're watching the live streams and you have questions answered, that's great. But I want you to have more questions, because those questions are opportunities for the people that are paying attention. If you're not watching the streams and having questions arise, you're really not engaging with the lecture. Your motivation should be, how many new questions did you get arise by watching me talk about what price is doing? Because the ones that are really here try to learn, you have questions, and I have answers for you, trust me. But you have to watch and study real time with me, and you'll learn just like Caleb's learning. It is not as complicated as you think it is. In the beginning, it's a language you got to learn, and nobody can have a conversation the first day. You'll fumble over it. You can't pronounce the stuff correctly. It's crazy. And that's all you're experiencing the first time here, or first few times. If you've never looked at price like this, you have to learn the language first. And once you understand the language that I use to discuss it, then it becomes a whole lot more fun, because, oh, I understand exactly what he's doing now. I know you're going to say something in the presence of just yourself and nobody being around, and you're going to say what I'm about to say before I say it. You will finish my sentences, or you'll call attention to something before I do it. And when you start having those epiphanies, it's like, wow, I'm starting to get, you're right, exactly. We're thinking the same way. That means that hive mentality that I'm trying to cultivate around reading price, but I'm not trying to cultivate a hive mentality about how do you trade it. Because if that was the case, we would all be entering at the same place, all at the same stop loss, the same amount of contracts, holding for the same target. That's not what I'm trying to do. You all can be doing something differently, buying and selling in the same day and still be profitable using everything that I taught. That's the power of what I'm teaching you. It is a language to engage price action, but I'm giving you a limitless approach to building models that are literally devastating compared to everything else. But you can't recognize that yet, but you're going to. You're absolutely going to. And when you get to that point, confidence will need to be managed because it will sound like arrogance. And young men, it's going to be very hard for you to do that. And the more you're like that with your friends and family, the more they're going to think that you're full of shit and it's not going to work for you. So all you're going to do is get more of the things that you don't want. They're never going to say, good job, Timmy. Good job, Josh. You keep doing that. If anybody's going to do it, you're going to do it. They're not going to do that because they go to work just like you're going to work right now. They're going through the pain of paying too much for shit that's way expensive, and they're struggling. Everybody's struggling. So I'm very proud of Caleb to agree to this being shared, because he could have said, no, Dad, I don't want you to do that because they don't deserve it. And there it is. Okay. I would have went that route. But he feels the same pressure that all of you are feeling. He tells me, man, it's expensive. Gas and electric's gone up. I got to pay this much to drive gas, because he has to drive to another state. And it's very expensive for everyone. And he has that same thing going on right now. So he has no advantages over you. None. He has zero advantages. He's being forced to work at a job. He's not making a lot of money. That cost of living pressure that you're feeling, he's feeling it too. And he has to learn it when he gets home and on his day off. Now, tell me, don't play with that. Take that pig from her because it's going to oink, oink, and it sounds like something I don't want in the video. Don't let her out. Leave her in there. Just leave her alone. That's what I'm saying. Just stay away from her. She's going to think you're going to let her out of the kennel. This is all the stuff that usually gets cut out of a pre-recorded video. But we're live, so it is what it is. But you have the same situation and same circumstances that he has. The only advantage is that I'm not going to let him fail. You have to earn yours. The work that you put into it, you're going to have to earn all of that. And when you earn it, you should feel good about it. When you understand yourself and you understand the market and how you're going to engage it, don't even invite other people in the conversation. Don't say, this is what I'm doing. Like, as soon as you start showing your results on social media, unless you're aiming to be a streamer and have a source of income like that, then okay, yeah, it makes sense that you're going to show what you're doing online. But unless you're doing that, showing the world through social media what your trade was, unless you're teaching, and if you're teaching my stuff, it's kind of like cringy to me because none of you should be trying to teach my stuff, to be honest with you. I mean, it's just the way it is. But assuming you're a teacher, then it makes sense. Here's what I did in the market, or here's how I'm trading, or this is how I traded this. Okay, that's wonderful. But apart from that, if you're just trying to learn how to trade, you should never be showing anybody on the internet what you're doing. Because the chances of you getting the cheerleading that you subconsciously want to hear, like, wow, you did good, that's what you're wanting. Subconsciously, that's what you want. And I told Caleb, don't you ever fucking do that. The only time you're going to see what he's doing is on his YouTube channel, where I sit down with him. I sit down with him and I say, show me what your notes are. Show me what you observed. And you're going to hear it. You're going to hear him talk about what he feels struggles with. You're going to hear him talk about where he thinks he's making a little bit of progress, or maybe he's not making any progress. He's going to say it as he feels it and what he's experiencing. And I'm going to ask him to talk a little bit about what it feels like working 12-hour days. Working 12 hours, commuting, and doing this. And you're going to think, wow, his dad's ICT and he's still putting him through the mill. You're fucking right, I am. Because there's no better way of learning it. You want to eat shit the rest of your life and have somebody tell you how much you're going to earn and when you got to do it? Well, go ahead. Go work. But you have to know what it feels like to avoid it. And that means once you start making money, you won't take stupid risks because you'll end up in that same situation because dad's not bailing your ass out. You go on your own steam that you earned. You make your own money that you earned. When you make it your way, by your own hands, you'll care more about it. You won't be frivolous with it. You won't take silly risks and over leverage. Well, I've been doing real good for the last 4 months. It's time to over leverage. It says I can do 15 contracts, so fuck it, let's do it. No. Because you don't want to end up in that same situation where you got to go back to only expecting the money that comes to you on a week by week basis by doing 50 plus hours a week. Doing something that you don't really want to do. That is the catalyst. See, instead of hating your job, you should be thankful you have the job because that's the motivator. It's not me talking to you. The only thing I'm doing is making you think about it. Like, yeah, if I don't really make a change today or work towards making a change, what's going to change? The date. The date on the calendar, that's what's going to change. Nothing else is changing. You're not going to move up. You're not going to move down. You might move down, might move out the door. They might do away with you. You may be fired. You may not get a promotion. Think about it. So if you made the decision to be here and learn how to do this stuff, I commend you because I'm not going to sugarcoat shit. I'm going to tell you just the way it is. You're not going to like it most of the times the way it's been taught to you, but this is the way it needs to be this way. It needs to be like this because when you earn it, your motivation and goal should be, I don't ever want to hear this motherfucker talk to me about trading or looking at price action ever again. I want to know that I know, and I ain't got to worry about listening to anybody else, least of which ICT. And I don't take that as a disrespect. That's graduation. That is graduating. When you no longer give two shits what ICT is saying because you already know what I'm going to say. You already know where the market's going to go. You already know if I was sitting there in front of you and say, watch this right here, watch this right here. You already know that. And you're already in that trade, already taking partials. You've already closed the trade. And other people are just sitting there looking at the fucking chart, staring at it. No idea what's going on. No idea where it's going. All the multiple opportunities to enter into a trade, they're clueless. And you've already ran a clinic on it. And you've done more in an hour of trading than they'll do in a whole week with a myriad of losses across the board. And you've done one trade a day and you're content and you're making people's salaries. Hello. You don't need to be cheerleaded when you know what you're doing. You don't need to ask anybody outside of you when you know what you're doing. You never go onto social media and ask for validation. That's a sign of success and maturity. Anybody that's posting stuff, unless they're an educator and they're just giving examples of it, they're literally just asking you to fill the void of something they cannot feel and get from their own accomplishments in trading. And if that didn't hit and resonate with you, listen to it again. Because that's exactly what social media has done. It's fostered this environment for people that have no reason to ever expect any clout to chase after it. And when they see somebody else that has more of it, they're going to shit on them because they think that elevates them. It doesn't. So don't even get into the fray of that. Don't even worry about it. Stay out of that. Like I told my son Caleb, don't fucking do anything on social media. Your YouTube channel is the only thing. You don't do anything on Instagram. You don't do anything on Twitter. You don't do anything on Facebook. You have one presence. It's on YouTube. Nobody can pretend to be you because they're all going to know this is the only place that you're going to speak from. It makes it easy to manage. You're not asking people's opinions. You're not asking for, hey, what do you want me to do? Fuck everybody else's opinion. The only one you need to worry about is mine. This is it. I'm the drill sergeant. You're fucking in boot camp. And this is the way it is. You're going to eat the shit I put in front of you. You're going to eat it. You're going to say, thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Never no, sir. You're going to log and you're going to repeat it. And then when I tell you to do something extra, then you're going to aim for that. But you're going to continuously do everything else I told you. That's the process. That's the work. That's what every failed ICT student has never really did. And we'll see what your progress is. You're going through the same thing that he's going through. And some of you already feel the changes, already see the progress. You already think about it differently. And I'm encouraged because I see people saying, hey, I used to panic and worry about taking a trade, and now I love watching price action. It's fascinating to see what it's doing. It literally is marching to what you say, right? And it will do the same thing when you understand more. It will feel like you carry it on a leash. You're walking it. That's what it feels like. And it's hard to get surprised. And if you're not being surprised at what price is doing, what are you? You're bored. Because you know what you're waiting for. You know. You know that you know. And no one can take that from you. Once you get to that level, these live streams are going to be so much more immersive. And it'll be a whole different experience. Right now, you're just floundering around if you're brand new. And I know, but don't be discouraged. That's normal for you to feel like that. It's absolutely normal. It would be something altogether different if we weren't able to see things happening before it happened. Then it'd be like, oh yeah, it's justified. Just unplug and don't come back. But you can't say that. You're seeing things that are wonderfully illustrated, has context, has a narrative as to why it should do certain things and not do other things. And that is real mentoring. That is what it feels like to learn properly from a proper teacher, from a proper mentor with real experience. If they don't have the ability to do this, and they're not willing to do this, that's the biggest red flag to say, you know what? Have a good day. I wish you nothing but luck, but I got to go. And no, you're not having any money from me. There it is. It's done. And I'm going to get all kinds of new level hate placed against me now because people are doing what I'm making a case against today, saying that, you know, if you're teaching, you better be able to do this. If you're not comfortable out here, and I think you can hear my tone of my voice, like I'm not hopped up on anxiety. I'm not hopped up on fear. Like I'm literally telling you what you should focus on and how the market should behave and deliver and the things to focus on and how it should start the runs, where it should reach to, all those types of things. Because it's stuff I do every single day. And some of you, because you're really, really weak, you're weak-minded and weak-hearted, you want me to trade in front of you. And that's the only thing of any benefit is because you want to be able to copy me. And it's not a cop-out for you to say, oh, that's your excuse. No, you want to do something where you're mimicking me, and you think that that is you learning how to do it. The only thing that does is if I did that for 1 week, it would create such a level of codependence in everyone that was watching it. They would never feel comfortable doing it in their own development, in their own natural progression going through the content. Any adversity after that would be enough for them to say, fuck it, I can't do it. And then you'd hate me because I wouldn't be doing live streams. When I'm promoting you as the driver, I'm just teaching you how to drive, how to navigate. And you're going to find the quickest route to where you deem success. But you got to give yourself the permission to go at the pace that you will discover is perfect for you. You don't have to rush through these lectures. Nobody says you have to be on the same lecture that we're doing right now. If you're panicked that you're rushing through them just to stay up to date, you're wasting so much opportunity to do it correctly. You have the benefit of watching it as if it were live. That's why I'm using the 1 minute chart. You have every advantage of being here live and have no dependency on you being here live. The same measure of experience is the same measure of experience if anybody's watching it live. It's live streamed. There's tens of thousands of people watching them. There's so many other witnesses to watch when it's occurring that, yeah, this really did happen. It really was explained beforehand. It's the repeating logic that he keeps talking about, and it's repetitious. And you may think and say to yourself, he keeps repeating himself. That's good. Repetition is the hallmark of recognition. It has to be How many times did you work out in the gym and curl the bicep? Oh, fuck this. I've already done it 10 times. I'm not going to do 4 more sets of this shit. I've already done this. You got to go through it because it's ingrained. It's in your subconscious. You don't want to be thinking about reaching for information while you're watching price. It needs to be automatic, just like that. Like when I took that trade yesterday, automatic. I was like, oh fuck this. I ain't worried about making the box look pretty. I know what I got to do. I got to enter an order right now because if I don't do it, it may take off and run without me. That's because I've done this for 30 years. I have done this over and over and over again. And I also know what it's like to get that, oh, it's going to do, and then sit on it and wait too long, and then it runs away. So I know what I'm supposed to do. I got to react. I got to say, okay, I'm looking for this, but now it's done this. So if I want to take a trade, it's in the PD array I would be using right now. So I got to do it on a stop. I can't use a limit order because I'm already in the middle of a very small little range. So how am I going to be able to finesse a limit order? I might as well just do a market order. But I don't want that. I want to be able to buy as it's leaving the lower half of that inversion fair value gap. And that's why I elected to use a buy on a stop. Because we're learning how the entries form. The patterns and how you enter your limit order for the fair value gaps, Caleb, that's what we're introducing here. Next week, we're going to talk about things that are going to be problematic for the trade being effective. So it might look like it's in the marketplace. It may be a viable trade, but when do you stand down and say, I'm not taking that one. I'll just paper trade it or tape read it. Very, very important information next week. And I guarantee you the viewership is going to be the least. It's going to be the lowest. And it's going to be the same people that don't watch that on those lectures next week. They're the same people that will be either in anonymity or openly on the internet saying this stuff doesn't work because they don't want to learn how to make sure that they're trading the environments that have the highest probability. They're lessons that I had never intended to ever teach. And because my son's making an effort to do this, I want him to have all the advantages of knowing when and when not to. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but these are the things that I do that helps me focus on the best. Think about it. Wouldn't you want that information? Wouldn't you want to know what are the things that's going to be in my way that I'm going to fall a victim to? And how do I cope with that? How do I navigate that? Because these are all things that I fell victim to and blew an account with. Every single lecture I go to give next week, if I didn't learn those lessons, I never would be able to do what you see me do. I can see it before it happens. I can outline it. And as long as you can see it and outline it, all you need to know is where you're going to get in at. And that's easy. That's the easy part. The hard part is knowing where it's going to go, when it's going to start going there, and what's the reasonable measure of retracement, if at all. If you could know those answers, entries are the easiest thing. But you're sweating it. I need to know how to get in. No, you don't. You need to know how to behave and how to manage yourself and your emotions and keep your psychology in a state of mind where you're not hopped up on goofballs and you're losing the plot because you're making money, or be fearful of any little tiny little retracement thinking it's going to completely come back and knock you out. That's a very hard stage in trading. Like you have to tackle that stuff early on, Caleb. Because if you don't, all the things that you do to try to prevent it makes it materialize sooner and more frequently. Trying to avoid a losing trade only ensures that you're going to take a losing trade sooner and more frequently. Because you're going to wait too long to engage. You're not going to take it when it seems so overwhelmingly obvious, but it's going to be scary. The right trades are always going to be the ones that you feel, I don't know, it's too good to be true. Let me wait. And then it starts running off and you chase it and you regret that you didn't get a good position. And you worry about not getting in that good position when you felt it first to get in. And you're not monitoring the trade. You're not watching the behaviors and signatures that price is still telling you it's still moving in your favor. And then because it starts spooling and you've been spending so much time worrying about that you didn't do it right and enter when you should have, and you chased it. And yeah, you're in profit right now, but now you're making profit. You're changing your mindset from beating yourself up about chasing price and not taking the entry mechanism that you look for, figure out you got an order block, whatever. And you switch over very abruptly to how much money you're making. And you don't even refer back to why you took the trade. And now you're worried about, should I get out? Should I get out? If I hold on to it and it turns around, so are you doing the right thing? No. And that's all the things that would pop up if I was out here doing entries every single day, every single live stream. I'm not making excuses for not taking trades. I'm going to be trading in front of you. But I'm trying to explain to the people that think they're going to try to use reverse psychology on me. I already know it's going to be detrimental to you if I do it. That's exactly what's going to happen. Because you're going to tap into 30 years of experience. Even if you copied me, you're not going to get the same result. Because as soon as you see any profit, you're going to be scared that I'm going to be wrong in front of the world. Or the market maker's going to run on his stop. Oh, shit. Calm down before I get all turned into 2 more hours. Let's just say this. We've had fun today. Okay? I've talked a lot. I've taught a lot. I've proved a lot. I've challenged you. And I asked you, do you believe there's an algorithm that controls price? Or do you believe that buying and selling pressure causes the fluctuations to stop dead in its fucking tracks right here? Dead in its fucking tracks. The randomness of buying and selling pressure. The randomness of all of these trading disciplines. Elliott wave. Supply and demand. Wyckoff. Point and figure. Andrews pitchforks and Andrews median lines. Harmonic patterns. Ratio trades. Animal patterns. Butterflies, bats, shark back patterns. How on earth, with all of that Mickey Mouse level bullshit, all those different disciplines of trading and what makes the trade go up and down for you as a trader, how on earth it takes more faith to believe in all of that shit giving the results of where price stops and turns on a dime, that all of those disciplines and all of the randomness, and think about the random ebb and flow of how it feels when you're watching a live stream. I might say something that makes a really profound impact on your understanding, and then I go off on a tangent and I start ranting about something, and you're like, fuck, would you get back on topic, ICT? I'm on topic, my topic. But then you get offended by something I said. And then I may give you some more information, okay? And then you're like, wow, yeah, I'm glad I stayed. I almost turned off the fucking live stream, but now I'm glad I stayed for that. That just made a whole lot of sense. I'm glad that. So what are you doing? You're having a random fluctuation of where you feel good. Then you want to turn the stream off. Then you're wishing you would have turned it off, but you stayed. And then now you're thinking, oh, I'm glad. So that random up and down, that's exactly what's going on with every trader when they're watching price action. Sometimes they're going to follow their model. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're going to demand that trade setup, gives them a little bit more confirmation, and then they'll enter. That's not them trading with that logic. They're randomly reacting to price. And if you make any argument against that, you're full of fucking grade A bullshit, because the human mind isn't going to be able to stick to the rules all the time. This is my shit, and I still try to finesse it. I ain't going to hide that. I still try to finesse it. I always try to outperform my stuff. I always try to predict them before they form, because I want to try to be in there at a stellar level. I want to get in prices that are so fucking mind-boggling. Like, what the fuck? How did you do that? That's what I'm addicted to. I'm addicted to that moment of astonishment. As a magician, that was what I fell in love with when I first started doing magic tricks as a young man. I loved it when people's face would go, what? That reality of that blur between, did I just see what I just thought I saw? That is why I studied magic, card tricks, and sleight of hand, all that kind of stuff. And in trading, I wanted to be the fucking best. I didn't want anybody to say, yeah, you trade like, no. People say, wow, you're good. You resemble what ICT does in his trade. I can tell you're one of his students. But they never say ICT trades like, it is just I trade like me. And that was a goal for me. But if you're looking at these turns in price like this, and you're saying that the buying and selling pressure of everybody that's going to be trading at that given minute, they all somehow fucking came to some conclusion that the amount of buying and selling has to exhaust itself right at that level. It's the upper quadrant of our daily volume imbalance. After fulfilling a rebalance to the high of this fair value gap, which is a SIBI. Really? And it just happens to do the same shit here and here. And it just so happens to stop right here on this old new day opening gap high. And it just so happens to trade down to the consequent encroachment of that over here. You're telling me you're gonna stand in a court and tell me what evidence do you have? What evidence do you bring that says with unequivocal, it's without question, the effects of buying and selling, random buying and selling pressure with multiple mediums of why they're getting into a trade? You would fucking fail miserably doing that. But I can stand out here in front of you, in front of a court, any court, and call this shit just like it is here. And what do you think any fucking jury would say? Wow, that's some real precision shit going on right there. Yep, sure is. It's coded that way. It's absolutely coded that way. But see, what happens is when people that don't know how to trade, Caleb, what I'm protecting you from, you're going to have trolls because you're my son. But you are going to have a lifestyle that they're never going to have. And you're going to have it by your own hands. And you're going to earn it. And nobody's ever going to be able to say anything to you and have it stick because you're earning it. I didn't give it to you. You're earning it. And I'm already proud that you're making this effort again. But when people try to talk shit to other people, especially in our camp here, they don't like the fact that we're overconfident. They don't like the fact that we will stand up real quick and say they're full of shit and their stuff isn't really what makes the market go around. And we can come out here and do things like this. And they're live streaming and they're saying there's no way that the ES is going to go above the high because there's correlation. These markets are correlated. That's the reason why it's going to go up there. So right there, you've proven. Say to me that you don't know how market correlation has impact on price by saying anything but that. Well, that's what he's done. Live streamer says, no, there's no way ES is going to take the high out. And I'm buying it. And it blows the lid off. Rallies straight on up. Now, I could have went on that live stream and shit on him in his chat after he made a video about me. But me and my private students, I had a little ribbing with them. It was just them knowing that I took a trade and faded him. But I do that with everybody. And it's fun. I don't mean mean-spirited. It's just to reinforce it to my students who've already been convinced that there is an algorithm. Nobody's going to convince them otherwise. But it's fun when you see other people out there that are just communicating that they have no real understanding and they're floundering. They're floundering and they're saying whatever makes them feel fucking good. And it makes a perfect allowance for their inability to be able to call price before it happens. The inability to know that they're going to have a winning setup tomorrow or next Monday. I know I'm going to have a winning setup between 2 o'clock and 2:30 p.m. on Tuesday, on Thursday, every fucking day. I know my trade's going to be there. I know it's going to be there. Can you say that with your fucking harmonic horse shit? Can you do that with your ratio patterns? Fuck no, you can't. You have to wait for your indicators to paint this bullshit on your chart. I already know. I already know when the market is going to move. I already know that. Every fucking day, I know when it's going to move. I have to be present when it's doing it. The risk has to be appropriate for me to enter the trade. The structure's got to imply that this is clearly where they're going to draw to because the market's already displaced, caused the smoothness to go away in one side, and now they're going to reach for the opposing liquidity, where it's already proven itself too smooth. Relative equal high, relative equal low. It's not complicated, folks. It's not complicated. So when you hear people talk about what we do here, it's entertaining. It's sad because they're selling themselves short. Instead of saying, there's nonsense, there's no algorithm that controls price. Like I said, the invitation's open. You're welcome to bring whatever Mickey Mouse horse shit, okay, and call the market live. And I'll be out here doing what I'm doing. And I promise you will never be in the same neighborhood. We're just easing into this. I haven't even pulled back the veil yet. Like, wait till you fucking see. Wait till you fucking see what I'm going to be doing. You have no idea. You have no idea. Jaws are going to be fucking breaking, okay? I'm telling you. Literally, you have no idea what you're about to see. And if you've been impressed with this and fascinated with the intricate details about how it's behaving like this is nothing. This is nothing. But you'll see. All right. Long goodbyes and all. That's how it is. I'm going to talk to you tomorrow, Lord willing. We'll start around 9 o'clock if I can get everything set up and the stream works with me. OBS has been fickle with me, trying to get it to find my charts when I'm trying to set it up. But I'll talk to you tomorrow, Lord willing. Until then, be safe.